Hi, everybody.
Gee, it sure is boring around here.
It started. Okay, let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Go Nintendo Podcast.
Can't let you do that.
Webisode 718. The Zygarde Podcast. On brain.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to make you too excited, but Crash Bandicoot is in the chat right now.
Don't get too cocky.
What does that have to do with Crash Bandicoot?
Don't get cocky just because Crash Bandicoot's here. Like, you don't.
I'm honored.
Okay.
The Crash Bandicoot.
Okay.
Breaker of boxes. Eater of Wumpa fruit. I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about Zygarde, please? Enough Crash Bandicoot talk.
Okay. You got it. Zygarde is a Pokemon whose form depends on the percentage of its cores and cells gathered together. Zygarde core is the brain of Zygarde. It is a small green Pokemon with a gelatinous body.
Crash, don't be modest. We know you're the real one.
It has a large round head with a beak-shaped protrusion on the front, a thin hooked-shaped tail, and a red hexagon suspended in its body. Within its head is a single eye with a black pupil. Beside this eye, sorry, things moved around a little bit, is another white oval that may be a second eye. As seen in the anime, Zygarde cores are capable of absorbing sunlight to regain their strength and can speak telepathically.
Nader Die says, I love Zygarde.
Congrats. Zygarde cells make up every other part of Zygarde and appear nearly identical to the Zygarde core. Unlike the core, it has a flat body and head. It has a green pupil, a simpler unhooked tail, and a darker green, more elongated hexagon within its midsection. Now look, there's like a really lot to tell you about Zygarde, so I'm stopping there. But you do need to know Zygarde is the only known Pokemon capable of learning the moves Land's Wrath, 1,000 Arrows, 1,000 Waves, and Core Enforcer.
Thousand Island.
Dressing. It's number 718. It is a dragon ground type. Its abilities include Aura Beak or Power Construct at 50% form, Aura Beak or Power Construct at 10% form, and Power Construct at complete form. They are genderless. They, at 50% form, are 16 feet tall. At 10% form, they're 3 feet tall. And at complete form, they are 14 feet tall. 50% form can weigh 672 pounds. 10% form can weigh 73 pounds. And complete form weighs a whopping 1,344 pounds.
Thanks, Mom Brain.
Holy cow.
For You Can File says, are they streaming at GameStop? Hi, welcome to GameStop. The shelves behind us, Mom Brain.
I know.
I don't think you did.
I did.
Look at me.
What?
Did you get it at first?
Yeah, I 100% got it. I promise.
All right. Hello. Who we got here? Oh, no. What have I done? Hello, Sarah and Nader Die and Northern Sequence and the Froyukin Files and the Crash Bandicoot. And Mikey 3319, Dre Gamer, Roth, Donovan, and
I'm Squidward.
Massimo and Axel and Hiley and Tom and Steel Diver and Fungus Among Us and Ray and whoever else I didn't see. Thank you.
How are you?
That's a good one. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's going to be just a show with me for.
Yeah, all right.
This is terrible. Most of it, Mom Brain will be leaving. What time are you leaving?
I'll probably walk away from the table around 4. And then
God, so
baby, lock the door and turn the lights down low.
You're gonna be here for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're gonna be here that long.
Are you disappointed?
I guess I'll make it work. No, I'll do what I can.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna play something. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just exploring my options here.
Yes, okay. Mom Brain isn't. Did I say hi to Roth? Mom Brain is in charge of the soundboard. So.
Yeah, it's working.
So blame all of that on her. How you doing, Mom Brain? Good.
Yeah, I'm
German.
I'm doing all right. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Had a nice night last night. with a lot of people that I love. I've had a nice day today with a person that I love. I unfortunately have to go to a wake this afternoon, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but that's all right. It's part of life. That's how it goes. How about you, Raw Meat? How you doing?
No, Steel Diver, I would not. I'm doing okay. It's been really busy, and my sleep schedule has been so screwed up this week. I'm just like all out of whack. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I've wanted I haven't had time to enjoy not working, which usually comes very late in the night for me. It just
Wake up.
haven't
Wake up.
had a chance to, I don't know, it was just busy normally, but I don't know. It's been out of whack this week. I can't tell you why.
Well, I'll tell you that I had to start taking allergy medicine because my allergies have been
What company?
Zysol.
Oh,
I'd like to give
Zysol?
my allergies the boot.
Oh, really?
Zysol is a hoot.
That's right. You should tell them that should be their slogan.
I really should.
Send them a tweet. Roth says, got back from 5-hour hiking and showered just in time. Well, someone was very productive today.
Yeah, all right.
I hope it was a lovely hike. I hope you saw lots of pretty birds and
Wildlife.
rocks, I guess.
Yeah.
Trees, grass, bugs.
All of it.
I hope you had a s'more.
Did you
Probably not.
Natalia, the sluice!
Did you see a sluice on your hike?
Oh, boy. Does Mom Brain still have a thing with nose spray? Do you? Steel Diver wants to know.
I was really against it for a very long time until I tried it when I was sick, and there's nothing comparable to the sweet relief that nasal spray gives you. It's only, in my opinion, the only time I will use it is when I'm beyond beside myself congested at night and I can't sleep.
Hi, Straight Jeffin.
You can hurt yourself with that stuff. And I like the psh, psh, pump spray, the squeeze bottle one that goes up and then down your throat is a no-no for
Hi,
me.
Callaway. Straight Jeffin
I can
says,
taste it. I can feel it right now.
hi, guys. Haven't made a live show in a long time, but I'm working overtime right now and have a couple of hours of downtime. Well, I hope those hours of downtime are filled with absolutely zero work. Oh, less than zero work.
Money.
Gotta make that money. Gotta make that cheddar. All right. I'm an idiot and I forgot to do a poll this week. I have not tried that demo Crash Bandicoot.
What's wrong with you?
Wow. Perfect timing. I have something I want to talk about beforehand, and it's probably going to get me in trouble, but whatever. F the system, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. All right, so Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 0, and Resident Evil 4 are coming to the Switch. And Ray says, oh my God, I have spent too many nights propped up with allergies. Stay strong this season. Yeah, allergies are a real killer. So all of them are coming to the Switch. They're coming out soon. And Capcom reached out and offered review codes. They sent an email that already had the review codes in them. So I was like, oh, this is exciting. I'll do some footage for these and talk about the games. And there's an embargo for everything. There's an embargo for footage. There's an embargo for impressions. There's an embargo for reviews. Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 0, and Resident Evil, the original, all have review, preview, and footage embargoes. Why do you need an embargo on re-releases of your games?
Huh? What?
These aren't the Resident Evil 2 remake that came out was vastly different from the original Resident Evil 2. So embargoes for that, I get it. It was a very different experience. But these are just straight ports that have been on numerous platforms that have been available for multiple years and have already been on other Nintendo platforms too. Why is there an embargo? I don't understand it. I was so disappointed with that. I don't understand why these companies make these decisions sometimes. What are they? I don't understand. Hi, 1GWX. What are they trying to prevent? That's what I don't understand. Are the Switch ports particularly bad? I couldn't tell you if they were yet. I haven't tried the games at all because I was like, I was gonna, as soon as I got the codes, I was gonna record footage and put up a video.
That's the only thing I could think of, is that they're worried that like people are gonna review it poorly and then no one's gonna buy it as a result.
You would think that would be the case,
right? Like, doesn't that make...
That's not the case because companies are just weird sometimes. Like Nintendo is certainly weird, but I don't know. Maybe they are gonna. Maybe they will be poor ports. I'm certainly going to find out, and if they are, in my opinion, I will tell you that. But yeah, I just feel like it's so silly. Like I don't know who makes these decisions, or like the game's been out for so many years. Can you close that, please? Not the window, just the blind. It's very bright. So yeah, I forget what the embargo is. Mother Brain is here. Hello, Mother Brain. Yeah, close it. There you go. Thank you. No, it's okay. You can go back to bed. Go ahead. I knew as soon as you closed that he was going to come in and inspect. So yeah, I'll tell you. Just can't tell you yet. Hello, Drew. Also, so you're able to get Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil, the original, at retail for Switch in one package, and it's called the Resident Evil Collection. Can you really call 2 games a collection? Like if somebody was like, oh, I have a collection of
teacups.
5.
And feels like
a collection of teacups, and they're like, you're like, oh, can I come see them? And they're like, yeah, sure. And you go over to their place and they have 2.
Yeah, no.
Which that's not a collection.
I mean, so like,
yes, a 2-pack, Drew. Yes.
Yeah, duo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Double.
I mean,
2 and 1. And Steel Diver points out, and one of them is just a code. Yes, that's also correct.
I feel like it depends on what you're talking about, whether or not, the number that defines it as a collection, right? Like a collection of teacups, teacups are easy to find and they're relatively inexpensive. So like a good number of teacups would make a collection. Marbles are very small and affordable. 10 marbles make a collection.
I don't think 2 of anything is a collection.
I mean, I guess if you had like vintage cars, 2 of them would be a collection.
That's not a collection.
Yeah, I feel like that's a collection. If something's like really expensive or like hard to find, I feel like the lesser number makes a collection.
Steel Diver says, so we're not a couple, we're a collection.
I mean, we're invaluable. So.
I really can't think of anything where someone would have 2 of them and I'd say, oh, that's a nice collection you got there.
I would vintage cars.
No, that's wrong.
Well,
if somebody had 2 vintage cars, I'd be like, and they're like, no. I would say, oh, looks like you're trying to start a collection. I wouldn't be like, that's a nice collection you got there. I might ask, are you planning on starting a collection?
I think that's...
So if someone told you I have a vintage car collection in your mind, you would be picturing 2 or more? Come on.
I'd probably be picturing more, but I feel like I could call 2 a collection. I wouldn't be upset with someone. I wouldn't call mine a collection.
Steel Diver's got a collection of feet, and Mother Brain has a collection of testicles. No, 2. I'm sorry. This is our new thing. 2. No.
3.
I'm sure I could think...
A collection of video game consoles.
I'm sure I could think of
what makes
stuff.
How many is a collection?
Yeah, that's the whole question. I'm sure I could think of stuff where 3 would be more tolerable.
Yeah, I think that the value of something or the rarity
Here,
of something...
I think a 3, there's an argument to be made. 2, I do not know.
What about cats?
I have a collection of cats.
Mm-hmm.
Willis sent in this email this week. He says, ahoy hoy. I can't remember if this has come up in the podcast before, but this tweet raises an interesting sandwich question, which has been a staple of the podcast, so of course we're talking about it. It says, this is my friend's lunch. considered a sandwich? Now, I'm not sure what we're looking at here. We have, I get, it's 2 waffles, definitely.
That's a sandwich.
But what's in there?
Is that a sausage patty, maybe?
Let's see. It seems like it might just be 2 waffles. I'm not sure. I can't tell if there's something in between. Let's say this. Even if it is like, if it's just 2 waffles, then I would say no, that's not a sandwich. Hello,
It looked
Robert.
like there was something in the middle.
If there's something in the middle, then it's a sandwich. Yeah. The question, as far as it being like, do 2 waffles make for a sandwich? I would say yes, as long as there's something in there. What do you want?
Collection,
Oh boy.
as defined, when I look it up on Google, as defined by the Google dictionary, a group of things or people, an assembly of items such as works of art, pieces of writing, or natural objects, especially ones systematically ordered.
So 2 is not.
What was wrong with my hand?
You're like fussing with my elbow.
Was I? Sorry.
Yes.
So
you're wrong.
no.
Hello, Namekian Clown. You are missing. GoNintendo podcast listeners sent us an email about sandwiches. Willis goes on to say the people voting yes should be banned from sandwiches. Again, if it is 2 waffles with something in the middle, I'm totally on board with calling it a sandwich. If there's nothing in the middle, then no.
Mhm.
Again, I have no problem with people using waffles as sandwiches.
Okay.
And a collection has to be more than 2. Agreed?
Not necessarily.
Agreed?
No. Again, I really do think it's dependent upon the rarity or the value of the objects in said collection.
No, that's incorrect. 2 isn't enough. 2 is not, 2 is not enough to have a collection.
Okay.
Unless there's only 2 of those things in existence.
Rarity.
Because then you have 100%. 2.
So you have a collection of mom brains because I'm the only one.
I mean, no, because it's only 1. There has to be at least 1 other one. I'm going to get it. Excuse me.
Your sleeve is all flipped.
So what? God, Mom, get off me.
Drives me nuts.
Mother. All right, let's do some Nintendo news, okay, Mom Brain?
Okay.
I have a collection of
Hurry up already.
Nintendo news for you.
Okay.
Detective Pikachu, which for its opening weekend pulled in $170 million, has become the biggest opening for a video game movie ever. That is just in general biggest opening weekend for a video game movie ever. No qualifiers as in only domestic or anything. That's everywhere. The worldwide poll, and roughly 60 million of that came from the domestic side, and the rest was everywhere else. I have yet to see Detective Pikachu. I have yet to see Detective Pikachu. I would like to. Tried to get Mom Brain to see it last night.
No, you didn't.
When we were walking into the theater, what did I say?
We were there to see a different movie. I didn't know what movie we were there to see.
Is that the question I just asked you?
I said it was on the way out, wasn't it?
No, because we walked in by the Detective Pikachu poster.
I said,
and what did I say?
I said, is that the movie we're going to see? And you said no.
Hi, Joey. No, I was nice and surprised you with whatever the name of that movie is.
Book smart. It was great.
I don't want to say it was great. It was fun and enjoyable. I give it a, what did I say, 7?
7.5.
No, I don't think I said 7.5.
Pretty sure you did.
Well, I'm changing it to 7.
I gave it an 8.5.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. The story was great. There was not a dull moment.
Oh, that's where I would disagree.
I found the acting to be lovely.
Robert, I'll give you some advice. Robert says, I need some advice, chat. Oh, he's not asking me. Maybe I shouldn't give my advice. Fury is on sale right now in the eShop for $10. Should I get it? Is it really good? And about how long is the game? I can tell you that I really enjoyed the game. I have not played it on the Switch.
game is not fun.
Reggie, you don't even work for Nintendo anymore. Blow it out your ass. I really liked the game. I did not play it on the Switch, so I can't talk about how it performs there. But I thought it was really interesting. It's obviously mostly boss battles, and it's like a mix of... it's kind of like a bullet hell shooter, to be honest. And I thought the boss battles were well done. I think the soundtrack's fantastic, goes really well with the gameplay. And I don't remember how long the game was overall, but it was longer than I thought it was going to be. So I expected like...
Just a moment.
3 hours out of it, and I got more. Mother Breen says, RMC, please put that country song on the soundboard.
Baby, lock the door and turn the lights down low.
Would it be that one, Mother Brain? So, yeah, I like that game a lot. I was very impressed with it. Thought it was a lot of fun. That's a tough one, Robert. Robert says, Fury or SteamWorld Heist? They're two completely different games. They're both... they're both really good, but they're two completely different games. That's very hard for me to I don't know that I could give you one over the other.
That's a good question.
They're just too different. Drew, about Detective Pikachu, says, that's so great to hear. A kind-hearted movie that isn't about violence or sex is doing well. That's just what this world needs right now. The world needs more Detective Pikachu.
Do you remember when Pokemon Go came out?
I've never experienced anything like that in my life.
That was something that
everyone was playing it. That was amazing.
The world needs that.
We were on vacation in North Carolina at the Outer Banks when Pokemon Go was like still in its like super, super, super popular phase. Like everybody was playing it. So all the stores down there had out signs like saying, we're near a Pokestop, or come in, all kinds of Pokemon related stuff. And like everyone had their phones out, and you heard everybody, like you heard the music playing on everybody's phone. And
do you remember when we went into Clinton and it was like
yeah,
nuts there too?
Just in North Carolina, it was that much better because all those people are there on vacation. So like, nobody's doing anything important. So they're all running around playing. It was just really cool to see.
We like all the kids were out like at night, running to the beach to try and catch them.
Yeah. Man, I've never seen anything like that.
It was
like, think about that. Something that gets all those people out and about.
And together and sharing an experience.
Very cool. Very
cool. I miss it.
Man, Steel Diver, that's very interesting that you brought that up because that's what our next story is about. Steel Diver says, where were you on 9/11? Only thing I can think of similar to Pokemon Go level of coming together. Yeah, I mean, I remember where I was when 9/11 happened. It was, oddly enough, a funeral, or there was a wake that I was going to go to a wake, and then that happened. Hi, Who's Mav? Thanks for joining us. Our next story is about Dennis Dyack, who talked to IGN about Eternal Darkness, and he said some of the events of 9/11 caused Eternal Darkness to be delayed. All right, I'll just read you what he says. Mr. Dyack says, Eternal Darkness was very historically based, and we had a Crusader in the game. Back then, after 9/11, there was a lot of talk about a new Crusade and lots of, like, blah, 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 blah. Anything with sort of Middle Eastern content, kill this game. And so we had to rewrite it and just remove all that stuff. There was nothing negative towards anyone. It was just a historical perspective about a fantasy game. So, there's things in pop culture that were all impacted by that. Like the Spider-Man movie was changed because of that, because they had the Twin Towers in the Spider-Man. I think it was even in the first trailer, if I don't remember. Definitely the poster. So yeah, yes, it is similar in sense of bringing people together, but I much rather remember Pokemon Go, or at least look back on it, because I don't know that we'll ever see anything like that again with Pokemon Go. Yeah. even when we were experiencing it, I remember talking to you and being like,
Yeah.
this is crazy. Like, look at everyone's playing it. It was nuts. Sean Snocta says, since I doubt we'll ever see a sequel to Eternal Darkness, can we at least get an HD remaster? That would be lovely. It's been so long since I played that game. That's a sound clip we need to get on the soundboard.
What?
May the rats eat your eyes.
Oh my God, we say that. Not as much anymore, but we used to all the time.
I still say it sometimes, but yeah, I used to say that a lot.
Fatality.
May the rats eat your eyes.
That doesn't make any sense.
I like it, so I wanted to hear it.
I think this one makes sense.
I fight for my friends.
I just randomly picked one without looking. Mom Brain,
Yeah.
the creator of Super Monkey Ball, says he has no idea why the game sold so well. This is, yes.
Thank you so much for playing my game.
Sega Chief Creative Officer Toshihiro Nagoshi, who works on a number of franchises for Sega, but helped create Super Monkey Ball. He was asked about the game being a hit overseas since it didn't do too well in Japan, the original one. And he says, personally, I wanted to gain experience by making Super Monkey Ball, but then it didn't sell locally. I thought, now we've done it. But then it took off overseas. Still, honestly, I don't know why it sold well. In the midst of that, Sega's president called and praised me, saying, you really took the overseas market into account. And of course, I said yes. That's great. You're not going to not say that. Like if the president of a company calls up and it's like, you did a great job.
Yeah.
We're really proud of you. And you're going to be like, I didn't know what I was doing. You're not going to say that. You're going to be like, thank you very much. I worked really hard on this. Thanks for recognizing my effort. He also goes on to talk about working with Nintendo, because Sega and Nintendo have teamed up on numerous things. Obviously, their first major collaboration was with F-Zero GX on the GameCube. And he talks about the differences between the two companies. He says, Nintendo's way of thinking towards holisticness and versatility was rock solid. They didn't really care about whether things had a convenient excuse or not. Being inclusive for everyone was something already assumed from the start, and this was something that was set in stone. Furthermore, this sort of thinking was found practiced by everyone from top brass to the newcomers. It wasn't just something said by the higher-ups and never practiced. Their unity is amazing. I thought if they have this way of thinking, no wonder Sega wasn't able to beat them on hardware. Compared to Nintendo, Sega is more flashy of a company, but because
Meow.
but because we're more flashy, we're able to go at ideas with a more lighthearted attitude. If we didn't have this sort of attitude, I don't think I would have been able to keep working here. Perhaps if I joined Nintendo, I would have left this industry long ago. Ha ha ha. He laughs at the end. Yeah, it's obvious the two companies are very different, but they've become great friends in the last, I don't know, what is it now, 15 plus years? Tyrannosaurus says, still waiting on that Super Monkey Ball Switch announcement unless I really have to rely on Rolled Out to satiate those cravings. Rolled Out might be coming to the Switch. Yes, we know that there is a new Super Monkey Ball game in the works. We have no idea what it's like. We have no idea what platform it's on. We don't know any details about the gameplay, but it has been rated. So there is something coming. I would imagine it will be announced at E3. And if there's a new Monkey Ball game in the works, I think it's highly likely that it's going to come to the Switch. I really don't think you'll have to worry about that. And Sega has recently said they're taking more of a multi-platform approach. Can you think of a world where Sega's like, hey, here's a new Monkey Ball, PS4, Xbox One, and that's it? That just doesn't make any sense. Now, it could be a mobile game, but I really think it'll end up on Switch. Moving on. Smash Bros. Ultimate is now the best-selling Switch game in Japan.
Wow! Incredible!
Wow, you are on fire. Very good. It has taken down the previous record holder, Splatoon 2. We're only talking about retail sales here, so physical copies of the game. Smash Bros. Ultimate in Japan alone has sold 3,066,000 units, while Splatoon 2 has sold 3,058,000 units. There's like no room here, little boy. Come on. Oh, boy. So, yes,
Oh.
overtook it quite quickly. It took Splatoon 2 quite a while to get to that mark. But Splatoon 2 is very, very popular, obviously. But Smash Brothers is just killing it, really. Autumnal Blake says the Japanese sales could very well overtake the total sales of Smash Brothers U, which were 5.3 million. Well deserved. The game is incredible, especially the music, especially Lifelight. Everybody's very excited about the cat. Sorry, he's staring out the window right now.
What's so exciting about him?
You
What were they
walked across the table and
He's beautiful.
you stole him away, and he was biting you, which they couldn't see on camera.
He licked me.
I saw a lick, but I saw many bites too.
What?
Yeah, I think Smash. I mean, I don't know what will be able to beat Smash Brothers over in Japan. Perhaps there's a chance Animal Crossing could do it because everybody loves Animal Crossing, but Japan is particularly crazy about it. Maybe Pokemon Sword and Shield will overtake it. I don't know, but it's not like Smash Brothers Ultimate is slowing down really, because just this past week it was the #2 best-selling game for the week in Japan. So it's still moving a decent amount of units every week.
Boom, Tetris for Jeff.
Why? Because it's doing well. Boom. Tetris for Jeff.
No, I'm sorry.
What's wrong with you?
That is such a great one. Oh, this story, man. Here's more weirdness about Capcom. So
What the heck?
Devil May Cry is coming to the Switch. Just the first game. And we now know for sure that it is the same version that was featured in the HD collection. So it's the revamped version of the original Devil May Cry, which is good news. A little cold outside right now, though. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, that's good news. But everything else is the bad news.
Your words are as empty as your soul.
What is that about?
Bad news.
Come on, man. You're either like really on or you're... Hello, Giant Reggie. Here's what Capcom said about the potential for other Devil May Cry games coming over. Capcom is focused on bringing the original Devil May Cry experience for the first time to a Nintendo system. No other titles have been announced. Hello, Deante. I don't understand this whole thing. I don't understand why they are only bringing over the first one when the collection has been available on other platforms for a long time. We need to know the price. And we all already know that the price is going to be bad. But we need to know the price for this to have any potential of making sense.
Money.
Because if it's... What was I saying? And I said it in a video. I don't remember. You can get the Devil May Cry collection, HD collection, which is Devil May Cry, what, 1, 2, 3?
So that is a collection.
Another one. For anywhere from $30 to $40. So if Devil May Cry on a Switch is anything over $10, it's ridiculous. And I think looking at the pricing of Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, and Resident Evil 4, we know it's going to be more than that. So I could be being pessimistic right now, but I think I've covered this stuff long enough, and you as fans know that Capcom is not going to make it cheap. It's going to not make sense. Shillelagh says, Capcom need to say how much they are charging for just this one game. The HD collection can be bought for £15 and has the first 3 games. The HD collection is 12 gigs in size, so there's no reason why this can't get a physical version on Switch, apart from the stinginess and trying to milk Switch customers. So, I mean, there's the proof right there. That's why. I mean, I imagine we're going to get screwed over, and then it won't sell all that well, and then Capcom's going to be like, well, I guess people don't want Devil May Cry on Switch, and that is not the case at all, but you know how it works. Here's a really crazy story. The Switch in Japan has outsold the entire install base of the PS4.
Wow.
Incredible. The PS4 has sold 8,077,000 units in total in Japan. That's all versions of the PS4. And it did that in 272 weeks. So that's, obviously from launch to now. The Switch has been available for 114 weeks, less than half the time. And it has sold 8.1 million units in Japan. Is that not crazy? It goes to show. It goes to show Nintendo's popularity, and it also shows how much Japan likes portable aspects of the platform. Okay, thank you, Toad. So it's not wholly surprising, but it's just one more example of how well the Switch is doing and how far Nintendo's come since the Wii U, which was not too hot of a system. Hammer Galade Bro says, "Who cares? They're still doomed." That's right. Nintendo is always doomed. That's the kind of comment I like to see when we get it. It's the kind of comment I always like to see when we have a success story for Nintendo, because that's how I know I'm talking to a real Nintendo fan, because they know Nintendo's always doomed. Mom Brain, Get ready for June 8th, 2019 for the Super Mario Maker 2 Invitational 2019.
Ooh.
Pretty exciting, right?
That is very exciting.
So bad news.
Hurry up already.
Bad news for me, because that means now E3 is basically starting on Saturday. So I think I'm going to have to do the podcast early that day to cover this thing. They're doing a Super Mario Maker 2 Invitational 2019 on June 8th. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
It's going to give a better look at the game, obviously. But this event will have special guests, and they will compete in wild Super Mario Maker 2 courses designed by Nintendo's Treehouse team.
Wild.
Hello, Squidward. Just the way you said it made me think that. So they did something similar for the original Super Mario Maker. They just didn't give like a huge blowout like this. And it makes sense because the game comes out towards the end of June. And special guests, they'll have like influencers that fans know, but then they'll also have like celebrities. And I mean, last time for one of their event, for Smash Brothers event, they had Ember Moon. So maybe Ember Moon will be there. WWE superstar Ember Moon, for those who don't know. But yeah, they'll have maybe Zelda.
Rami Cowboy's crush.
Maybe they'll have Zelda Williams there again. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yes, look forward to that on June 8th. Cubed Cinder 128 says, "Calling John numbers. Call me weird if you want, but I loved watching him play the first Super Mario Maker on Wii U at Nintendo World Championships 2015. Well, we'll see what happens. It would make sense for them to.
Hey, what happened?
See, that's a clip you can always use, and I'll never be upset. I love that.
I know.
And now all I think about is him in that clip playing the organ. Thanks, cold outside right now, though. I appreciate it.
What?
What?
What did they say?
Says, love your setup, guys. I think if I had a genie, that would be one of my wishes, that I could do whistle tones.
You're close.
Nah, I'm nowhere close to being able to do a whistle tone.
Closer than I am.
I can sing a high note, but I can't do a whistle. A whistle tone is a whole nother thing.
But you know what's funny? Is you can also...
Baby, lock the door and turn the lights down low.
That's very hard for me to do, to get that low.
Yeah.
Baby. That's very... and that's not low.
I can't...
Baby. It's very hard.
Like that guy.
What
the
guy?
Guy on YouTube.
If Nikki Hill was here. I think Nikki Hill's going to be here next week, guys, so prepare yourselves. Prepare yourselves. All right, Super Mario Maker 2. There was a Super Mario Maker 2 Direct this week. It was 15 minutes plus, and it was an information blowout. And we're going to talk about it.
Information blowout.
That's something people say.
feels real gross.
Why? Because blowouts are only about diarrhea.
Yeah.
Let me give you. So they showed a whole bunch of new stuff, obviously. Here's what they have bullet pointed in their press release. What's new? Slopes.
That's a good question.
You can now create slopes. You know, Mario slides on his butt. You can also make gentler slopes if you want, so they don't have to be just one type of slope. One of Mom Brain's favorites, the Angry Sun, is finally being added in.
Love the Angry Sun.
The on-off switches are being added in, which were a part of Super Mario World. The water level can now be adjusted, so you can have water level at a certain level in a map, or you can adjust it to, on the fly, go up and down, and even adjust the speed at which it does that. Hello, the Aloe Wolf. It's okay that you're late. We're just happy that you made it. Bonsai Bill. The red variations of these classic Super Mario enemies have a homing function and chase poor Mario wherever he goes. So you can create a level with a friend. Pass a Joy-Con controller to a friend to create a course side by side.
That's nice.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
There are more secrets in Super Mario Maker 2. Players will have a blast experimenting with all the tools and features they can use to create. Also revealed is Story Mode, which is such a big deal.
No way! I don't believe it!
In the single-player story mode, which can be played entirely offline, Mario sets out to help rebuild Princess Peach's castle. To fund this reconstruction project, he needs to collect coins, which he can earn by accepting jobs from the bulletin board and completing the associated courses. Story mode is a great way for makers to get inspired with, this is the important part, with more than 100 original Nintendo-crafted courses to play. So basically, it's a brand new Mario Brothers game.
I'm interested in this.
I am too. Me and you both, Alucard. It's basically getting a new side-scrolling Mario game. Except you get Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario World, New Super Mario Brothers U, Super Mario 3D World. You get all those styles mixed in there. Hello, Jumpman. Thanks for joining us. So we're speaking about Mario and Jumpman joints. So that's just so exciting to me. I think if you have zero interest in level creation, you have a whole story mode to play through. Well, I mean, that's wonderful.
It is wonderful.
New course themes, including desert, snow, forest, and sky. And those include new music by none other than Mr. Koji Kondo himself. The man who's responsible for all those classic Super Mario themes is coming back to do brand new music. That's so exciting to me.
Hurry up already!
There's a new moon course, which will unlock night versions of themes. Weird things happen at night, including floating Goombas, dimmed lighting in the ghost house, sandstorms in the desert, Darude. Hello, Triskin. Thanks for joining us. He says, dang, I can't watch this live. I'll be back preparing burritos. Burritos hotter than the angriest sun. Hopefully they don't come out that way. We talk about that.
Fatality.
Okay, now that I'll go with. Super Mario 3D World stages that you build are only for Super Mario 3D World in and of themselves. That theme, the stages you make in that theme cannot be brought over to the other themes, and stages that you make with the other 3 or 4 themes cannot go to Super Mario 3D World, because Super Mario 3D World has things that are completely different, like Cat Mario, the clear pipes, the Koopa Troopa car, the track block, the Piranha Creeper, and more. Course World is the online hub where you get all that jazz and check out everybody's levels and all that good stuff. You can also play together. Players can play courses with people all over the world. It's got online 4-player multiplayer. Competitive and co-op. Want to work together with friends online? You can do that. Want to race to the finish and beat the other players online? You can do that too. I can't believe they're adding in either of those modes, but both are there. That's very exciting. If up to 4 players each own a Switch and a copy of the game, you can make a virtual room that the others in the same location can join and play together on their own systems. Only the player setting up the room needs an internet connection. So basically, if you all have Switches, you can say, hey, buds, bring your Switch over to my house and bring your copy of Super Mario Maker 2.
Fun.
And let's have a little fun. You can make an online room, and you can all play together in the same rooms just locally. So it's like local co-op, but you have your own screen.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, the Bene Smoocha. This is a package and a half.
Whoa.
I'm interested in this.
I mean, really, this is such a fantastic package. I originally was excited for Super Mario Maker 2, but I didn't think it would have all that much new in it. But I was completely wrong. Yes.
Wonderful.
And
Froyukin.
Smoocha.
I agree. Froyukin wants a Super Mario Brothers 2 theme, as in Super Mario Brothers 2 that we got here, Doki Doki Panic. Yes, I would love that, but who knows? Golf Dude says, some YouTubers don't seem happy at the removal of the 100 Mario Challenge in favor of the Never Ending Challenge. The majority of Mario Maker YouTubers play the 100 Mario Challenge. So, hear me out. Can't they just play the Never Ending Challenge, but only do 100 stages? Or only do 100 Marios? Let's see how far they can make it.
No.
Okay.
All right. I gotta go. It was both an honor and a privilege.
Thanks for spending a little bit of time with us.
Well,
Margaret.
I would love to, under better circumstances, continue spending time with you all. But I can't.
Well, have fun.
Oh, yeah.
I'll see you later. Well, guys, now it's just me and you. Sorry. Let me get the camera. That looks good. Hello, Retro Az. Nader Die says, we'll miss you, Mom Brain. What? Retro Az, you got here just as it's going to be only me. How disappointing. Moving on. Nintendo also revealed Switch game vouchers. Save up to $20 on save up to $20 on 2 games for the Switch with Switch game vouchers. Fans with a paid Switch Online membership can purchase a pair of Switch game vouchers for just $99.99 from now until July 31st, 2019. You can redeem the vouchers for digital versions of select games on Nintendo.com or Nintendo eShop on your system. Vouchers are valid for a year after the purchase, so you could use one voucher now and save another for an upcoming title, or redeem both right away. So yeah, get 2 games, save $20 altogether. I mean, why the hell not? It's again only available to Switch Online members, but it's a good deal to me. It seems like a good deal to me. Well, Shillelagh says, this sounds awful. There's not much of a discount, and you can buy their games physically for €50 if you shop around. Plus, you don't have to buy 2 games. I mean, yes, but if like you're buying 2 games going forward, like new games like Super Mario Maker 2 and, I don't know, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, there you go, right there. You're going to save money right there. Even no matter what region you're in, you're going to still save money. Some regions, well, it'll be better than others. As the Shoemaker points out, he says, the only place it sounds like a mediocre deal is in the UK, where you will still save money, but not as much. He says, here in Canada, this is $40 cheaper than buying 2 physical games. And then someone corrects them, and they say it's only $27 cheaper. Blah, 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 back and forth. The point is, no matter what region you live in, it's still going to be cheaper. It's just that how cheap it is will vary. But you're going to save money no matter what. Unless you're getting, I guess, 2... I don't know what the list is off the top of my head for all the games included in there. But unless you're getting 2 old games that you could find pre-owned somewhere, because Nintendo's game prices don't go down for first-party stuff until there's like... Selects, Nintendo Selects or something like that. because Nintendo's games are long tail sellers. Mario Maker and maybe Astral Chain, says Drew. Yeah, that makes sense too. Great if they're getting both Pokemon games, says Nader Die. That is also true. Mr. Sakurai talked a bit about the most recent update to Smash Bros. Ultimate. This was translated by our good friend Push Dustin, and I'll read you the details. He says the sharing aspect took the staff extra time to prepare because of testing and debugging. Sakurai didn't want a game where only the winners of battles can have fun, so he didn't want Smash to have just fighting. His 3 goals for the game were fighting, sharing, and fighting together. Fighting together is something that was difficult to implement. Fighting with 4 players online using the CPU and 4-player spirit battles were decided, but there were limits. Sakurai has also checked out some of the user-created stages that are out there, and he's having a really good time with them. He said some of the ideas have him laughing. Which ones are making him laugh? The crude ones? The ones that Nintendo had to take down? I don't know. He didn't say what ones. Sakurai says he's looking forward to seeing the movies that the community creates, and Sakurai asks everyone to follow the rules and community standards. And you know what happens when you ask everybody to follow the rules? They stop following the rules. Autumnal Blake says, I've had a lot of fun downloading batches of stages and playing online with friends. It's hilarious to see what mystery stages we dig up. One of my favorites would have to be the one I made, which is just a giant ass at the bottom of the screen with walls on the sides and top to keep you in. There's a strong wind blowing into the ass and a teleporter inside that drops you below the stage. Very mature, I know. All that matters is that you're having fun. I mean, it's a butt. Everybody's got a butt. Are we really going to get offended at a butt? I don't think so. All right. What is this? North America. What do we get in North America this week? Resident Evil 0. No, Resident Evil comes out May 21st. Resident Evil 0 comes out May 21st. Team Sonic Racing is May 21st. Fortnite got its Season 9 update. Switch Online updated with Donkey Kong Jr. versus Excitebike. Clue Land. All that garbage. Also available is 39 Days to Mars. Akane. Ninja Gaiden, the Arcade Archives version. Assassin's Creed 3 Remaster comes out on May 21st. Atelier Lula, the Scion of Arland, comes out May 21st. Blades of Time, Chicken Rider, Darkwood, Devious Dungeon 2, Guilty Gear XX, Accent Core, Plus R. Gunlord X is available May 22nd. Coral, Octageddon, Pocket League Story, Project Nimbus Complete Edition, Super Life of Pixel, Tales from Space Mutant Blobs Attack. Tales from Space Mutant Blobs Attack. Terratech, The Last Door comes out May 22nd, and Thief Simulator. Can't wait for the news to pick up on that game. Is Nintendo teaching children how to steal and break into homes? Toad is the best. Says, wasn't the Castlevania collection supposed to release today as well? Possibly just left off the list like I've seen other games in the past. The eShop site doesn't list it either. Well, maybe it's too early. Yeah, Nintendo does that. I don't know how that works. Like, I guess companies have to submit their information and be like, yes, we're launching on that date. And sometimes they don't submit it, but they still come out that date anyway because Castlevania collection came out. Yeah. In Europe, Sniper Elite V2 Remastered, Rock of Ages 2, Bigger and Bolder. Castlevania Anniversary Collection. It was listed for Europe. Blades of Time, Evil Defenders, Red Out, Super Life of Pixel, Undead Horde, 39 Days to Mars, Arcade Archives, Butasan, Darkwood, Inferno Climber Reborn, Coral, Light Tracer, Octageddon, Pocket League Story, Project Nimbus Complete Edition, Thief Simulator, Your Toy. Do you remember all the toys from your childhood? Do you remember what happened to them? Where are they now? Though once best friends, they have now become your worst nightmare. And that's all it says. That's not weird at all. Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus R. Akane, Chicken Rider, Devious Dungeon 2, DLC. And as has been the usual for the last few weeks, No 3DS themes. Hey, in the chat, I got a question for you. Have you ever bought a 3DS theme? And if so, what ones? Shillelagh says, nothing really of any worth to pick up this week. Maybe Darkwood. From the bits I've seen, it might be a decent hard game. I've heard great things about Darkwood. I've heard a lot of great stuff. I'm actually excited to try it out myself. Blizzard is they're super happy with how Diablo 3 Eternal Collection turned out on Switch. Blizzard's boss, J. Allen Brack, says, we're super happy. Nintendo's been a great partner. We're a fan of the platform, a fan of Nintendo, a fan of Nintendo's IP, and a fan of the Switch. It's a really good platform, and it's really fun to play on. Different games have come out that are good experiences. Part of it is Nintendo love, plus thinking that the Diablo experience will be great on that platform. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I loved it. Brack has also asked, hey, are you guys going to do anything else for the Switch? Wouldn't that be nice? He says, it's not ridiculous. We'd like to have, and then he trails off, and then he comes back and says, we think of it as another platform. It has some unique properties that the Xbox and Sony platforms don't have. Thinking about what games make sense for that type of console is something we'll never stop doing. You know, I get so tired of these wishy-washy answers. I think they could give a more straightforward answer than that, but I'm sure we'll get something else. I don't know what. I said I wanted it to be The Lost Vikings 3, which is a game that doesn't exist at all, but I would love for it to exist. Maybe one day. Last time I was at an event with a guy from Blizzard, I specifically told him that I want The Lost Vikings 3, and he's like, oh my God, I'm such a fan of that franchise. I can't believe you're talking about it. I was like, yeah. Go back and tell everybody at Blizzard that they should do that. And he's like, I seriously am going to talk about it with somebody. I don't know if he did or not, but he seemed genuinely excited that I was talking about the Lost Vikings. Axel says he got the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild theme on the 3DS and says it's really good. Namekian Clown says he bought a Smash Brothers 3DS theme because it cost him 20 cents, basically. I didn't know people in here. I didn't know people actually bought them. I guess it's dumb for me to say that because obviously they put them out there because people buy them. Nader Dice says I got multiple Zelda and Pokemon themes and also the Splatoon theme. Hi, Lightning Bro. Lightning Bro says I buy the 3DS themes for the background music. Azure Striker, Gunvolt, and Rosalina theme have really good music. That's a good point. The music is something I never even really thought about. Drew, about Blizzard, says, how about StarCraft Ghosts on Switch? I know you've got the code lying around somewhere and are just waiting to explode onto Switch. Man, I remember being so excited for that game, and I kept staring at like screenshots that were in magazines. I was like, this game looks so cool, and it never happened. Beyond all odds, Final Fantasy VII got an update on the Switch, and the two issues everybody complained about were fixed. I cannot believe it. Two issues were music looping issue. When you would go into a fight, when you came back out, the music, instead of picking up from where it left off, would loop over again, which means you would probably hear the same 20 seconds of a song over and over and over again. That was fixed. And there was a cutscene issue. There was an issue between a transition of cutscene and gameplay, and that was taken care of as well. I'm so surprised that got fixed because it was an issue that was taken care of in other versions, and then the Switch version somehow had those two glitches still in it. I don't know what happened. I don't know how that came about, but yeah, Square Enix fixed it. Entropy says, I jumped in here to write, well, I'll be damned, but you guys got me covered. Yeah, I know. Very surprising. It's sad that that's such a surprising thing, but I know it's important to talk about because I saw so many people who said, I'm holding off on buying it on the Switch because of these issues, and I think that's warranted, especially when it comes to the music, because Final Fantasy VII soundtrack is fantastic, and to be basically blocked from hearing those songs when you play, or only hearing small snippets of those songs when you play, is a frustrating issue. Minecraft, which is now 10 years old, has managed to sell 176 million copies. Obviously, that is retail and digital, but still an insane amount of copies for the game. It is updated quite frequently nowadays, and more updates are to come. I mean, Microsoft spent a lot of money to get that franchise, and it sounds like it was money well spent. Let me see. I have Minecraft on the Wii U, Minecraft on PS4. I have it on 3DS. Was it on PS3? Is that a dumb thing to say? It was on PS3, wasn't it? I think. I don't know, man. I'm losing it. But yeah, I mean, like I know I'm not the only one who has bought multiple versions of Minecraft, obviously. So I don't know how many like actual like unique players there are out there, but yeah, the game keeps selling like crazy, and I'll go through stretches of where I play it a lot, and then I take a break from it, and then I go back and play it a lot. I think a lot of people do that. It seems like a lot of people are feeling nostalgic for Minecraft right now and are going back into it. Hello, thank you, Drake. Drake says, yeah, it was on PS3. So then that's the ones I own: PS3, PS4, 3DS, Wii U, and Switch. I have 5 different versions of the game. The 3DS version, Drew, I got because thanks, Namekian Clan. I got because I was just so curious to see how it turned out. Obviously, it's not the best way to play the game, but it is. It's not a bad version of the game. It's just, you know, as long as your expectations are in check, you'll enjoy it. It's unique to play it on the 3DS. It interests me. Rat Mastered says that's one for each console it's been ported to. 176 million sold, 176 million ports. And then finally, our last top story is a rumor. And the rumor is that Detective Pikachu is getting a sequel. This rumor comes from sources involved with the production of the movie. So, you know, have to be tied to Legendary in some way. They say that the sequel is being worked on, and it's in the early stages of development right now. So it'll be quite some time until we hear like anything official. But not surprising to see that a sequel's in the works. The first one seems to be doing well. Obviously, Warner Brothers and Legendary and all them want to turn it into a franchise. That's not surprising either. So we'll see what happens from here on out. But yes, it seems like they're already moving forward. My Body is Ready said Ryan Reynolds has already expressed interest in a sequel, so this makes sense. Yeah, I mean, we talked about earlier how much money it made, the record it broke. Last week we talked about how well reviewed it was by audiences and critics. It's an important moment in video game movies. So unfortunately, I think there's other ones in the works that are going to take away from that. Hopefully, Detective Pikachu will have some other movie companies and studios looking into, like, you know, putting more time into game movie adaptations. Because we have Detective Pikachu, which is, from my understanding, quite good. But then we have like that new Doom movie that's straight to video, which looks horrible. And then you have Sonic the Hedgehog, which I don't even know what to say about that. We'll have to see what that revamp ends up looking like. But even if Sonic looks better, that doesn't fix problems with the script. So we'll see. I don't know. Yeah, video game movies still got a way to go, but this was an important step to set things down a better path. I'm hoping there's so many games. Oh, yes, we have the Super Mario Brothers movie to look forward to as well, which I'm sure it's going to end up being good. There's powerhouse teams behind that movie, and Nintendo is obviously going to take it extremely seriously after the debacle of the original Super Mario Brothers movie, which is fantastic for all the wrong reasons. Has become a cult classic because of how weird and bad it is. I can honestly tell you, I don't dislike that movie. When I first saw it in the theaters, I did. I was very angry. But I've come to appreciate it over the time for just, it's a beautiful disaster. Let's say that it's something to see if you've never seen it. I can't tell you it's a good movie, but I can tell you that I like it. I honestly, hello, Cumulative. Cumulative says, it'd be funny if they deliberately took the same route as the old Super Mario Brothers movie, but somehow made it really good. That could happen. That could happen in the sense that I think someone could do that. Nintendo's not going to do that, obviously, but I think that could happen. Yes, I think you could turn that original idea into something legitimately good. I do think that, but that's going to have to be left up to fans because there's not going to be a movie studio that's going to do that. There's plenty of movies or plenty of games that could be adapted into movies that will work really well. Just seems somehow they all get tied in with like bad script writers and bad directors. And I haven't seen Detective Pikachu, which I'm sure is the best of all of them. But from the ones I've seen, I still think the original Mortal Kombat movie is, I want to say I think it's a good movie, but maybe it makes more sense to say it's not a bad movie. It's not an adaptation of a video game that makes me upset. The characters are there. It has the feel right. I like the vibe. They did something interesting with the story. I thought I liked it. I did like it. And now there's a new Mortal Kombat movie in the works, which is coming out, what'd they say? March 2021. So that's a ways off. But the scriptwriter is the same guy who did the Resident Evil movies. And I'm like, oh. Or the director. Well, I don't know. I think it was the scriptwriter. I was like, oh, man, really? Like, the Resident Evil movies, I would say, are not good. I enjoy them. I've seen plenty of them in the theaters, but I was seeing them for campy reasons with friends to have fun and make fun of. But yeah, I don't think they're good movies. And the Monster Hunter movie is from the same guy who did the Resident Evil movies. It's a whole disaster. Whatever. Somebody will I guess Nintendo and Pokemon Company have broken the curse with Detective Pikachu as far as quality goes, but we still are waiting for that major breakthrough moment. Like I've said previously, comic book adaptations as far as movies go had their real, as far as I'm concerned, real breakthrough moment with the first X-Men movie, because that was a big deal and it seemed like it really kicked things off. And I remember so many people seeing that movie and saying, man, it was actually really good. And it was. Hi. Very nice. You look lovely. So it can happen. It just... Detective Pikachu is the first very important step in getting to that point. Cumulative says, Shantae movie where the only one on the entire staff crawl is Matt Bozon. That'd be a lot of hard work for him to make a movie all by himself. Drew says Spider-Man as far as movies, comic book movies go. When did Spider-Man come out? Was that before or after X-Men? I don't remember. Spider-Man is also a really important one, yeah. What was it? Mom Brain. Who was it Sony that I was talking about who had the options to buy all the Marvel movies? Yeah. I read a whole article about how Sony had the option to buy all of Marvel, basically. This is before the Iron Man movie came out. Sony had the option to buy Marvel for a ridiculously small amount of money. It was $42 million, the option to make all those Marvel movies. Hi, Joe. You are super late, but it's okay. We're super happy you're here. And Sony said no. They were like, nobody gives a crap. And I'm censoring myself. They said nobody gives a crap about Iron Man or any of those other things. They only know Spider-Man, and that's why Sony specifically bought the license just for Spider-Man. Now think about that. Sony must be so upset about that now. How do you go on? That's crazy. Because what did Disney buy Marvel for later on? Billions. I know it was billions. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, they could have had the entire Marvel catalog for $42 million. Now they may have bought it and it would have been garbage. There's a lot of movie magic that happened in there with all the people that were involved, and that happened without Sony's input. So you never know how it would have turned out. Maybe it would have been a bad deal for Sony because they would have had teams that didn't plan things out the way that it worked out with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We'll never know that. But hello, Nico Darunia, and thank you for that compliment. So yeah, we can't, it's revisionist history. We can't go back and talk about that because we'll never know what would happen. But, Sony nowadays is like, oh my God, we could have had that license for $42 million. But it is what it is. All right. What did I play this week? I'm just saying it because nobody's here to ask me, so I can say it whenever I want. I played some Redout on the Switch. You can see some footage of me trying out Redout for the first time. And I talk about how Redout is a thing on the Switch now because it was announced before the Switch came out, and it was delayed and delayed and delayed, and then it was just radio silence for a really long time. But it came out. Redout is now available on the Switch. It's a real thing. It's thanks Northern. It's not like the best racing game I've ever played, but it's fine. I'm impressed with the consistent frame rate that I've experienced so far, and it feels super fast, which I really like. And something I wasn't expecting was you use the right analog stick to like drift basically, or like nudge your ship in the direction you want to go for turns. So if you want to make a sharp turn, basically you use both joysticks. If you want to do a looser turn, you use just one. And I've never played a racing game that does that from what I can think of. So rather than hitting bumpers, you're using the joystick. And I liked it because the joystick is giving you more control, obviously. It was an interesting experience. I like that mechanic. But yeah, other than that, it's very, very standard. I can't say that it's a better game than whatever it is, Fast, whatever the subtitle is, the one that came out at Switch launch. But it's not a bad game. It's certainly entertaining. What else did I play? I know one thing that I'm leaving out on purpose, but I'm trying to think if there's anything else I snuck in there. Fast RMX. Thank you, Joe. I guess that's it. So I also played... I was like, I have such a backlog of games that I have to play on so many different systems, and I have made a decision to chip away at it. I'm going to do it no matter how long it takes. And outside of games that I'm playing for work, I'm going to stick to those other games until I beat them and then go on to the next. So I started playing Horizon Zero Dawn because I've been meaning to play that, and my sister's husband has been talking about it to me for like a year now because he loved it. And he's like, you got to play. I want to talk to you about it. I want to know what you think, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, I want to play too. I own it. I just haven't had the time. So I sat down and started playing that this week. I have, I don't know, maybe 3 hours into it. I really like it. I really am enjoying it. I love the girl that does the main character's voice. What's her name? Ashley Birch. Who has done plenty of other voices in games, but I think she does a great job. I think the story's really good and interesting. It has some well-written moments as far as like subtle things go. Usually video games, when it comes to stories, they may have interesting stories, but they really miss out on the subtle moments. I feel Horizon Zero Dawn does a great job of... the writers did a great job with those subtle moments, and the voice actors obviously did a really good job too. Like there's stuff that happens earlier on in the story where it was sentimental, and it got me a little choked up, and I was like, man, it's very hard for a game to hit those notes, especially when you're playing something that is an action adventure game. If it's a story-based game, obviously the team is pouring in a ton into those moments, so there's a better chance they're going to hit those marks. But when it comes to a game that's focused on more traditional gameplay styles, I feel like sometimes the writing can be a little bit off. But yeah, I really like it. I love the whole idea of... I like the whole mystery of it. There's a lot of mystery in like what's happening. Like you see, I know it's been out for a while. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, there's just mystery and intrigue to the story. Things that really push you forward because you want to see what's going on. Like in the most vague terms possible, there's a door that I saw, and I can't open it. This is storyline wise, and it's a major door and you want to know what's going on behind it because it ties to your past. And I'm like, oh man, I really want to know what's back there. And I've been like, to tell you the truth, I've been thinking about it when I've been going to bed. I'll like lay down to go to sleep, and I'm like, man, I wonder if this is going to be behind that door. Maybe they could do something like this. And when a game does that, I think it shows something special. But the gameplay itself is fun too. It's just, running around. I love any game that has a bow and arrow. I'm a sucker for a bow and arrow. I just love that kind of fighting mechanic. And I like robot stuff, so I like shooting robot dinosaurs in their eyes with with bow and arrow. It's a nice looking game, and the music is good. I really, really, really like it. It's I have so much more to go, and I'm doing all the side missions and everything. But for where I'm at right now, I'd say it deserves all the praise that it got. I think it's very well done. It's a really interesting, entertaining experience. I'm very excited to get back in and play more. I haven't been able to play in the last couple days, but I will be playing it tonight. I mean, I was looking at my Switch and PS4 titles up there, which are just out of the camera's frame, and I was like, oh, I have so many I have to go through. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm excited to do it. It's just every week, especially with the Switch, there's so many more games that come out that I want to play. I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do? How am I going to find the time? But I'm going to do it. That's my resolution. I'm going to do it. I mean, my collection of games is just going to keep growing. That's the way it works. But it's not a bad problem to have. Also now, because I'm into comics, that eats up free time too, because I don't want to have a backlog problem with comics. So when I get new comics each week, I make sure I read those new comics throughout the week. I got like 13 new comics this week, I think, and I haven't had the time to read any. Usually I've read at least 4 or 5 by this point, so I'm like, uh-oh, I gotta hurry through. But I it's an adult thing. Everybody goes through it. You only have so much time to do the things you like because you spend most of your time doing the things to make a living. So, but this is how I make part of my living, talking to you guys on a podcast, and that is not anything I have ever complained about. I love doing the podcast, and I love doing GoNintendo in general. It's not something to complain about. There's a lot of work to be done all the time, but when it boils down to it, it's fun. I like talking about it. All right, that's it for this week's show. Can't do trivia because it's just me and a cat. That's all I played. Oh, no, that's not this week's show. I can do a question. I'm an idiot. Send your questions to GoNintendoQuestions@gmail.com. That is GoNintendoQuestions@gmail.com. Man, it's hard to type and do this at the same time. They can be about Nintendo. They can be about anything, any video game, or they can be about anything you want. We'll answer any of your questions. I'm sure the first question I'm going to open will be like, here's a question for the whole group. If that's the case, I will use your question. Thank you, Sarah. No, Roth, I haven't watched the Doom Patrol pilot episode, but that's something else I want to do. I want to watch that. Okay. It's another. Firequackers says, I was eating some Halloween Oreos and read something truly spoopy on the package. It describes the Oreos as chocolate sandwich cookies. Since the chocolate is on the outside, wouldn't that be like calling most sandwiches bread sandwiches? Yeah, I completely agree with that. Calway, Mom Brain teaches, I guess she teaches children with special needs, and technically the age ranges work differently, so it's hard to say like she works with one specific grade, but it's like a first grade range, I guess. Yes, Firequackers, I agree. It would be like calling most sandwiches bread sandwiches. Yeah, chocolate sandwich cookies. But Chocolate sandwich cookies. Sandwich cookie. I'm trying. This is something I could spend hours on thinking about this. It's not wrong, but I get what you're saying. You know, because someone would be like sourdough bread. But yes, people don't say sourdough bread, sourdough sandwich bread. I don't know. Does bread say that on the bag? I feel like some bread bags will say that, like sandwich bread or something like that. I guess you would say like chocolate cookies with a cream filling or something like that, rather than saying a. How would you say it without saying chocolate sandwich cookies? Like and still have sandwich in there. Chocolate cookie. No, you can't say that. Now I can see why they're calling it this, because it's hard to come up with another name that makes sense. These sandwich related questions, you guys always get me with them. I'll do one more. Ooh. I got a text from Drew Michaels during the podcast. And he always forgets that it's a podcast. That's how it works. I don't know what happens, but podcast time on the weekend. Oh, he's texting me again. Let's see if he remembers. No. Oh my goodness. This is from Supra Mural. He says, hello, GoNintendo crew. Your podcast has been a part of my life since December of 2017, and it's just great. Really like your humor and all. Well, thank you. Anyway, here's my question. Currently, you are crediting the artists because you use their artworks to promote a post on Twitter, for example. However, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it's really recent. I know that one time you posted an artwork by Chris, blah, 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 I don't know. It was a rendition of Pearl Marina early concept art, but you didn't credit him. You had, I believe, an argument, deleted the post, and started crediting him among other artists. Well, first off, hello, Feeling Fine. I am feeling fine, and Feeling Fine hopes that I'm feeling fine. So your hope is fulfilled. First of all, I never have an argument with anybody on Twitter, ever. I never argue. I may have issues with somebody, and I'll DM them directly, but I'm never mean and have an argument. So what do you think about the subject of crediting art? Why weren't you crediting artists before? What kind of image deserves to be credited? Sorry if my English is broken. I am not a native English speaker. Keep up the great work. I think your English was pretty damn good, better than mine most of the time. So crediting artists on Twitter, I'm always out to credit everyone, and that includes, you know, news sources and all that stuff. But crediting is hard because there's no universal way to credit that everyone is happy with. So I try and go with what is standard, and sometimes someone won't be happy with that. And I will always and am always willing to change it. Here's the things that have happened with images. I have credited, and I've had people DM me and tell me I don't need to do that. I've credited, and people have said, could you point it to my DeviantArt or something like that? And I've done that. I've not credited because I use the part of the image that already has their signature in it, and that's fine. And I have taken down posts because the artist didn't like the way that I credited. Sometimes they want a different Twitter handle, or sometimes they want just a different name, their regular name or something like that. So it's always different. But I always aim to credit. So I always credit, but I always aim to credit in like a uniform way. But I am always open to anyone saying, can you change it to this? Can you do that? Yes, that's completely fine. They're the artist, whatever they want. And that goes for any news source too. Like I said, if an outlet wants to be linked by name, if they want a link in the body of their post, if they don't want a link, that's completely fine. I have had honest to God outlets get in touch and say, you don't have to link us, it's fine, which I never do. I'm not like, okay, and not link them. I'm like, well, I feel it's only appropriate to have a source link in there. And I've had people say I'm not the source, even though it read like they were the source, so I updated with something else. So when it all boils down, I always source, and if anyone ever has a problem with how I have sourced something, I respond immediately through email or through Twitter DMs. That's what I'm there for, because, again, there's no universal way of this is how you source on Twitter. There is like a standard, but there's no like right or wrong. But my features will always have a source. Here's a funny story on that really quickly. IGN years ago had told me I got a very angry email from somebody at IGN, and I will not say who it was. And they were like, why don't you ever say IGN in your posts? Like the post title. And I'm like, well, I say it in the body. And also I have a video from you that says it's from IGN and has the IGN logo. And they're like, you're just trying to steal clicks away from us. And I'm like, like, first off, I am no threat to IGN. But second, I was like, if you have a problem, that's fine. You don't need to like come at me rudely about it. I was just sourcing as I do with anybody else. Just tell me what you want and I'll do that. So I did it. He's like, from now on, anything you do from IGN has to have IGN in the title. I was like, okay. So I did it. And then 2 weeks later, somebody else from IGN got in touch with me and they were like, why are you putting our name in the title? You don't have to do that. He's like, that's why we have our logos on things. I was like, what do you mean? Somebody at IGN told me he wanted me to do that. And he's like, well, who was it? So I told him, and then so now I don't know what to do. So usually I say IGN in there. So if you ever see a tweet from us that says like IGN and then the story, or IGN video and then the story, now you know why. I had so many, I don't know. What the heck is right? I don't know the soundboard well enough to play what the heck. Sorry. But yeah, those weird, funny stories pop up all the time. Northern says too many chefs in the kitchen. That is the case for a lot of outlets. There's no like one universal like, hey guys, this is how we operate. Everybody follows this rule. It's usually everybody surmises their own thing, which is funny for IGN because you'd think like, I'm sure there is a universal thing, just some people don't follow it. The stories I could tell you about IGN. I think I've talked about it on the podcast before, but I did a video related to content at IGN because I felt it grossly misrepresented the situation for something. And you know me. I think you know me. I never am out to cause trouble and never am out to be rude or mean. And if I have anything that I'd like to do counterpoint, I always present it in an open, honest, and genuine way. And I outright say, I'm not out to be mean. I'm not out to cause trouble. I'm not going to, this isn't like a, as the kids say today, I'm not spilling the tea. This isn't anything like that. I just feel that what was represented in that video was not accurate, and I'm giving my 2 cents. And the subjects of one of the video were so rude on Twitter. Like it blew my mind that they were as rude and mean as they were. I'm like, you work for IGN and this is how you're going to act publicly? I never responded. I never sent anything because I don't want to get involved in that. Hello, Joshua, Luigi. Yes, you are late. I'm ending in a couple minutes. But I had 3 other people at IGN get in touch with me and say, we're really happy you put that video out because the stuff they were talking about was, or the way that they talked about that stuff was so wrong. And they were like, we couldn't bring it up for reasons, you know, IGN stuff, but we're really happy you did that. And I was like, well, they are not happy. So someone at someone related to Nintendo, let's say, that got in touch and they're like, man, that video you did was so good and it really needed to get out there because their video was so off the mark. And I was like, I know, right? But, you know, everybody's got to cause drama and everybody's got to think like, oh, he's going in on them. And, oh, he's, you know, I couldn't be any more removed from that than I am right now. I want nothing to do with drama in any way, shape, or form. But if there is misinformation, I will present my side of the information in a very respectful, calm, honest, and genuine manner. Just this week, something happened. Whatever. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's all fun. I love it. It's I just want to do the news and talk about stuff on the podcast and play games. I don't know, man. Whatever. If you ever have a problem with me, all you got to do is email me. I'm in my email like all day long. I'm always there. And I'm always willing to work with you and correct things in a way that if you are the source of anything, image, a tweet, a story, a podcast, a video, whatever it is, if you have an issue, reach out to me. Let me know. I'm more than happy to correct it. There doesn't need to be any drama at all. But we live in an age of drama. It is what it is. So on that fun note, that is really the end of the podcast now. You can also send your music for music trivia to gnpodcastmusic@gmail.com. That is gnpodcastmusic@gmail.com. And thank you for sending in your questions and your music. That's it, my friends. Stick around for the after show where I don't know what I'll do. Talk more about comics. I don't know. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I will see you next week. Goodbye, everybody. All right. That's that. We got a few minutes of after show. Whatever you want, I'll talk about it. 1GWX says, Alexa Bliss. Yeah, seems like she just can't get it together recently. I feel bad for her. She just keeps having mishaps and issues in the ring. I know her last health scare was, it seemed pretty bad. She was having trouble like feeling her fingers and stuff like that. So but she recovered, got back in the ring and didn't do too much in the ring. Like she didn't have too many matches and now she's out again with another concussion. That's really unfortunate. I'm sorry to see that because I really like her in the ring. I'll hit you with a Natalia the Sluice there, Malakayla. I just got to find it. Hello, Tommy. Where is Natalia the Sluice? While I'm looking for it. Oh, the damn speaker's off.
Hello.
Let's try that again.
Baby, lock the door and turn the lights down low.
Natalia, the Sluice.
There you go. Am I going to AEW Double or Nothing? No, I'm not going to it, but I am going to watch it. I was reading you'll be able to stream it on Fight TV. I'm very excited. Oh, man. I couldn't be more excited for AEW. I really want to see what goes on with their TV stuff. I know they're on TNT or going to be on TNT later this year. I'm so excited. They've made it, Cody Rhodes has made it very clear that they're going to go out of their way to present everything in a way different from WWE. And I love WWE, but I think having something presented in a completely different manner will be really interesting. I'm very excited to see it. And competition breeds a better product all around. So either WWE is going to fall apart or they're going to put on a better show. So, Tommy, that's awesome. I hope you have a great time. I'm very jealous. I would love to be there. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think it's an exciting time for wrestling. SmackDown's moving to Fox, which is a big deal. That's a huge deal. That's a very large market that they could reach. I'm very excited to see what happens. And Fox is going to have some input there. And hopefully they can, nobody can really convince Vince to do anything differently. I can always appreciate wrestling for the pure wrestling aspect of it. WWE's storyline stuff has been so out of whack for a while now. It doesn't bother me as much as it bothers most people because, like I said, I can just watch wrestling and like watching wrestling. But yeah, I've seen WWE do amazing things with storytelling without a doubt, but they seem to be so out of whack right now. And I would love to see what Triple H could do with it, because you know, his baby is NXT, and NXT is such a vastly different product, and is legitimately good from all angles, storyline, wrestling, all of that. It just feels so much fresher and different, and it's a shame to see that. And within the same company, you have their flagship shows, Raw and SmackDown, and they just, man, Raw makes me sad. I watch Raw every week, and I certainly will. And again, I can watch it just for the wrestling alone, but I know the storyline side could be so much better. SmackDown, I don't know. There's just something about SmackDown that I enjoy more nowadays. It's not anything to do with the time difference. I don't know. SmackDown feels different. I feel like they would do things. They do things differently on SmackDown. Also, I really wish they would have Paul Heyman come back as a writer or a lead on one of the shows, because Paul Heyman's work on SmackDown all those years ago was fantastic. Those were probably some of the best years of SmackDown. And I'm sure Paul would do it. Like, I just don't think Vince would ask him, because they, you know, when he was working on SmackDown, all kinds of issues came up between him and Vince and other people, and I don't know. Vince is he's not very, but Vince is old, and he's really out of touch with a lot of stuff. They have, as far as wrestlers go, they have some of the greatest talent that they've had in any given time. They have amazing wrestlers in their lineup, and they're just not using half of them. And I don't know. Retroaz says, bring back R-rated WWE. I mean, seeing a more quote-unquote adult-focused approach on storylines, I think would be entertaining, but I don't think that would fix the problem. I'm sure it would boost ratings in the short term, but not the long run, because you can have stories that involve, you know, more adult subject matter that are still written just as poorly. It's about character development and all that stuff. It's like a perfect example of how bad things can be on Raw right now is that goddamn story with the Usos and the Revival. It's so bad. It's not even. I can take childish humor and laugh at it, but it's just bad overall. It's embarrassing. And I have been reading that, you know, Vince likes it. Vince, you know, if you read wrestling news over the years, you come to find that Vince really likes super immature stuff. And I have nothing against immature stuff as long as, you know, it's well done. I think this is just bad. Stefan says, at least the Bray Wyatt stuff looks good. Yes, Bray Wyatt is one of the shining points right now. His whole thing is very different for compared to everything else in WWE right now, and I'm totally on board with that. I love the style. I love the new mask that he's got. I love the type of promos that he's doing. I'm all about it. My only problem, or my only worry, is when he's like back in the ring and like actually doing things. I'm worried they'll have one good story for him to like come back in, and then he'll fall by the wayside again. I don't know. I think Bray can be great on the microphone. But again, he needs stories to work with. Also, Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn on the microphone is fantastic. I love Sami Zayn as a wrestler too, but Sami Zayn on the microphone, Josh, you're making me laugh, is great. He's like, you can tell like that's how promos used to be, like where they had certain points they had to hit, but how they got there was their own thing. But Sammy just has a flow and has a humor and a style and a cadence and a rhythm to him that is just listening to him is great. But there's other wrestlers who they either don't let do that or can't do it. So, you know, you have to work with what you got. And thankfully they're letting Sammy do something where he, you know, it's at least entertaining to listen to him. So, Yeah, I could talk about wrestling forever, but we're long past our after show time now. Thanks for asking me about wrestling questions. If I had more time, I would love to do a wrestling podcast. That would be a lot of fun. All right, guys, I'm getting out of here. I got more work to do. You can enjoy the cat for a few minutes as he's taking a bath. Get this out of here. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a great weekend. Play some games. Hang out with friends and family. Take a rest. You deserve it. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.